guys, welcome to That Florida Feeling. I hope everybody's doing good. Thank you to those who checked on me while I was having surgery. Did not go as planned. That's why you had a guest host for a couple weeks. Thank you, Keb. Huge shout out to Keb from Stupid History Minute for taking over. True Floridian right there. But thank you. Speaking of Stupid History Minute, it's a part of the Unfiltered Studios, which is also what I'm a part of. And I think everybody should just check them out. There's some really great people over there doing amazing podcasts. There's pretty much something for everybody. So, yeah, if you're looking for a new podcast, you need to head on over to Unfiltered Studios and give somebody a listen. My favorites are Pedals of Support, Hypno Wellness, 12th Street Talkback, Talking Codswallop, and of course Stupid History Minute because it's a minute. Easy to listen to every day. But you're here because you want to hear about Florida. So today we're going to talk about a very specific part of a very large city in Florida. No, I'm not talking about Jacksonville. I'm talking about Miami, and the district I'm talking about is Wynwood. Most of you have probably heard of Wynwood. It is a neighborhood in Miami, and it's known for kind of being an entertainment district with artwork, restaurants, breweries, clothing stores, dance venues, pretty much anything and everything. But that's not really what draws people. Not going to lie to you. Wynwood is a former industrial district, and it is now known for the murals that cover the walls of many of those buildings and sidewalks. It is an artist paradise. It is gorgeous. These people who have done these have done amazing work. Wynwood is just kind of north of downtown Miami and Overtown. It's kind of adjacent to Edgewater. Wynwood has two major sub-districts, the Art District in northern Wynwood, and then the Wynwood Fashion District, which kind of runs along West 5th Avenue. It's roughly divided by North 20th Street to the south, I-195 to the north, 95 to the west, and the Florida East Coast Railway to the east. And it's not a huge district, but it's one that's worth checking out. And it's beautiful, mostly in parts of these murals. Now, Wynwood has also been referred to, I think it's long been referred to as Little San Juan, and is commonly known as El Barrio, because so many Puerto Ricans immigrated to this Miami neighborhood from the island and to northeastern cities around the 1950s. It's kind of what helped part of Miami grow. Puerto Rican-owned restaurants, shops, and markets, and other businesses line the streets of Wynwood. Not gonna lie, amazing food. Amazing food. But since the early 2000s, the neighborhood has really seen a rising investment. Of course, gentrification is a thing. And people do want to preserve the history and culture there, which is great. Everybody should feel that way, I think. So, Midtown Miami kind of developed and started constructing things around 2005, pretty much between North 29th and 36th Street, along Miami Avenue, and near the Florida East Coast Railway that kind of blocks in Wynwood. And it really was kind of built on what was historically an FEC rail yard, which is the Florida East Coast Railway. And it really brought renewed attention to the area. All the previously abandoned warehouses were starting to be occupied by artists, restaurants, coffee shops, cafes, lounges. Like, it really brought a new life into Wynwood when they started doing this. Tony Goldman, who was a developer, also assisted in the growth of Wynwood by creating a mecca out of already present graffiti. Of course, there's graffiti, it's abandoned. But in 2009, Goldman really kicked it off. He commissioned artists to create the Wynwood Walls. And these are located in the Wynwood Art District, and it's a huge outdoor exhibition of just rotating street art. You don't usually see the same ones every time. And Wynwood is really kind of its own. It's a vibrant art district. And yeah, it's part of Miami, but it really has cemented a place in Miami for itself. The Wynwood Art District is a sub-district of Wynwood that contains galleries, outdoor murals, private art collections. You can see tons of artists down there. And of course, the district is centered around the Wynwood Walls, thanks to Tony Goldman and his design for it. And his idea really was just to revitalize the neighborhood by turning warehouses into massive works of art, which he did. It worked. It's beautiful. And according to the Walls websites, artists feature Wynwood Walls include a lot of people who are really into murals, graffiti artists, local artists, um, and it really gives a lot of people a chance to see people's art that normally they wouldn't. And of course, the Walls have also been cited as a major tourist destination in Miami. Um, they were so. What's cool though is the Walls were curated by Goldman Global Arts, and it is an art dealer, and there is an art gallery inside the Walls, and it's one of the largest open air street installations in the world. Another reason it's just so famous. And it really was founded before Goldman really took the reins and started putting up murals. It was actually founded in early 2003, the Wynwood Art District Association, and it was a group of art dealers, artists, and a couple different curators. And they really wanted to get this area like going. One of the curators, Mark Coatsey, probably said that wrong, initiated the idea based on a similar project, Art Night, and he had started that in his hometown of Cape Town, South Africa. So he wanted to bring that fun to Miami. Of course, founding members at the first meeting in Rocket Project's media room were Bert Dorsch of the Emerson Dorsch Gallery, Weston Charles, Cooper and Elizabeth with Stanley of Locust Project, Mark Coatsey of the Rebel Family Collection, Nina Arias and Nick Sendrick of Rocket Projects, Bernice Steinbaum of the Bernice Steinbaum Gallery, and Marina Kessler of the Marina Kessler Gallery. So they started to get together and they had all these ideas and they created this foundation. And they created Second Saturday's Gallery Walk. They even designed a manhole cover logo along with lights and banners to hang on the street corners. They gave annual brochures with maps to associated members' places and galleries. And they really, really started to create Wynwood, what we know of it today. Of course, the Wynwood Walls really helped just take off, thanks to Tony Goldman. And that was really in an effort to not only showcase artists, to bring people to the area, but it was also to develop the area's pedestrian potential. That is something that a lot of places struggle with, especially like Miami. A lot of times, if people don't see something, they're not going to go. And if they're not going to go on foot, then they're not going to buy things. So it was a way to bring people in. Goldman actually bought his first building in Wynwood in 2004. And by the time of 2008, he owned nearly 24 properties. And artists from around the world have actually contributed to these Wynwood walls. The walls have been covered by pretty much everybody, including the New York Times and the BBC. The BBC also brought it to international attention and created it as a global destination to see art, which it's kind of fascinating because this really was a rundown place in Miami, and now it's a place where everybody wants to go and see. It was also featured in the docuseries entitled Here Comes the Neighborhood. So if you want to see about it, check that one out. And the walls really have expanded to include murals outside of the neighborhood, including Outside the Walls, which features art covering basically the entire building. It's such a cool idea. In 2010, Goldman continued to expand and added the Wynwood doors to highlight smaller artists. And Curve listed Wynwood Walls as the 16 most Instagrammable places in 2018. It is actually still up there today. It's super Instagrammable. I know, I loved it. Tons of great pictures. And the neighborhood really continues to thrive. And it really thrived on the growth of Art Basel Miami Beach, which was once the home to over 70 galleries, 5 museums, 3 collections, 7 art complexes, 12 art studios, 5 art fairs, and of course the Wynwood Walls. So it's just like this neighborhood basically exploded just for artists, and it's great. And as of 2018, every second Saturday of each month, a community-wide art walk has been held. Of course, there's been a couple different things that have changed since that. But they still do their art walks, and they are so cool. Galleries, art studios, alternative spaces, and showrooms would open their doors to the public to see their art. Live music would play. There were refreshments. And in addition, the Wynwood Walls actually grew to have more than 400 businesses in the area with 30 food stops. and it's only in a 50-block art district, so it's not a big area. Of course, Wynwood has struggled, like all of Miami and anywhere else. Um, Gentrification is still happening, increased rent is happening. Um, so around the time of COVID, only 10 galleries remained. But Wynwood has survived. It is still known as an art district. Of course, it's also got a fashion hub. Like Wynwood is a fashion district. The Miami Fashion District is actually a sub-district of Wynwood, and it's the larger of the two. Out of the art and fashion, fashion is bigger. Um, and it primarily starts along Northwest Fifth Avenue, and there are tons of major clothing retailers and distributors located in this small area of Wynwood as well. And honestly, Wynwood has been a fashion hub for a very long time. It kind of really started in the 1920s when Jewish New Yorkers came to the neighborhood and opened factories to establish garment districts, which that's exactly what they did. And with the new opportunities in the newly established Miami suburb, people came from Puerto Rico, people came from the north, and that's really how Wynwood got established in the 40s and 50s. That's why there's such a Puerto Rican influence. The immigration brought on by the garment district actually still plays in the modern demographic area today. Of course, gentrification is happening in the fashion district as well. Um, and it's really kind of sad to see it, but it's good to know that it's still there. Like Wynwood is still there and thriving, just not as big as it used to be at one point in the early 2000s. And a lot of places actually have like headquarters in Wynwood. The Miami New Times actually moved its headquarters in 2013. And they did a lot, and they helped preserve the buildings, history, culture, but they also brought kind of a new culture. And with moving there, it also showed other companies that they could move there as well. Now, Wynwood did have a really weird, like, something they got known for, and it was a particularly high rate of Zika infections as part of the 2015-2016 epidemic. On August 1st, 2016, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a travel warning not to visit Wynwood, Design District, or Midtown Miami areas. And that is the first time the CDC has ever advised against just visiting one neighborhood in the U.S. So Wynwood was kind of known for that. In August of 2016, 4 more cases were diagnosed in the Wynwood section of Miami, and it brought it to 21 total. And all of them were in Wynwood. And the problem is because Miami control efforts in Wynwood is not super easy. It's a mixed use area. So there's industrial sites with residents, businesses, food places. So it's very hard to just blanket it at one point, depending on how it would react. Wynwood continued to stay on this CDC list through December of 2016. It did downgrade Wynwood from red to a yellow, but it was very strange that it was just Wynwood that got all the Zika stuff. And the area is vibrant. It's beautiful. It's full of culture. It's amazing to visit. It is a great part of Miami. And a lot of times people hear Miami, they think of the beach. They think of South Beach. They think of, even Brickell. But they don't think of Wynwood. So sometimes it does get lost in the shuffle. But next time you're in Miami, definitely go to Wynwood. Go see the walls, eat at the local restaurant, and, take your Instagram pictures, have fun, make good memories, but avoid Florida Man. Florida Man is rampant, especially Miami. Can't tell you why. It's just between Miami, Polk County, and Pasco County, you're going to find Florida Man. Funny enough, today's Florida Man actually comes from Polk County. Florida Man rents a car, stops paying for it, but used it as an Uber car. How does that work? Well, the man rented the car from Orlando and proceeded to keep it for 3 weeks. The man stopped answering the rental call companies, so they had to report it stolen. Now, fun fact, most rental car companies can disable a car so it can't be turned back on once it's turned off. Once you turn the car off, they can disable it from being turned on, and then they can go and repo it or get it. The Florida Man got around this. Do you want to know how? He kept the car running for 3 weeks straight. That's right, 3 weeks. I will say Florida man is ingenious for that one. By keeping it running, they couldn't disable it. So he just kept using it and doing Uber and making money with it. But he was finally arrested by the Polk County Sheriff during one Uber trip. And funny enough, the passengers in the back seat were from the UK, and they had a really good story to tell. Talk about a good vacation. So, if you rent a car and you are not planning on turning it back in, they will find you and they will disable it. Just saying. And you'll probably get arrested. While this Florida man is ingenious, don't be this Florida man. Just don't do it, guys. Thank you for listening today. I hope that you've now added Wynwood to your latest places that you want to go in Florida, especially since it's about to be, well, it is fall. Happy fall. But it kind of makes it a little cooler. You're not sweating as much. So add Wynwood because it's an open air to one of those places to go in maybe the fall or the winter when Miami's just the right temperature. Also, guys, if you have a second, I really would appreciate you going to that Florida Feelings social media sites, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it now, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I have all of them, and I would appreciate you guys checking them out. Also, as always, guys, if you have a suggestion, reach out. I would love to do it. I've gotten plenty of great suggestions from you guys on things I wouldn't have even thought of. So thank you for that. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening. Thank you again for sticking with me through my guest host and through my surgery. But Florida Feeling is back, and we are going to explore a lot more. Drink your water, guys. Wear your sunscreen. Be nice. Please be nice. And as always, that's your daily dose of sunshine.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.